Hey everyone, welcome back to the What Mariel Made podcast. Hey everyone, it's Mariel. Welcome back to episode 12 of the What Mariel Made podcast. I am a maker based out of Northern California where I live with my husband and our dog Wally. And yeah, welcome back. I have a lot of exciting things to talk about with you today. I don't think it'll be a very long podcast, but I'll just jump into everything because I want to get into what I'm wearing, which is like probably the most exciting thing that I have to talk about today. So, yeah, this is my red Frankenstein sweater that I had mentioned last episode. I had like just begun it. Well, not just begun it, but I had like gotten through the yoke and I had just split for sleeves and the body, I think, and I was like really excited and I was like, next time I talk to you, I'm probably going to have this finished. And lo and behold, it is finished. I finished it pretty quickly after. It definitely didn't take me much time to get it finished, but there were like some slight delays because I needed to like obtain an extra ball of yarn and do some things. But let me tell you a little bit more about this if it's your first time kind of seeing it and tuning in. If it is your first time, welcome. Nice to meet you. But yeah, let's get into this. So, if you weren't here for the last time I talked about this, I'm calling this my red Frankenstein sweater because this isn't completely self-drafted. I'll tell you the pieces that I did like self-draft, but I took the neckline and the raglan kind of pattern and German short rows instructions from a couple different patterns. This neckline is actually like, it's not like straight from a different pattern, but it was like heavily inspired by a collar that I did recently on my Tuscana test knit sweater. But mainly I'm taking from the unsweater with like the basic setup and construction of this raglan. And so I've listed everything that I've done in Ravelry. But of course I haven't given away any like specifics about the end pattern just to be careful and like respectful of the designer. So if you technically could recreate this sweater for yourself if you wanted to, if you're like kind of my size, if you're 5 foot tall, petite woman with a pretty small bust. You could probably recreate this just by like what I have on the Ravelry page if you already have the unsweater pattern. Mainly this was like an exercise for me in terms of just like playing with what I had already and knowing that I could probably create a sweater that I had in mind that I couldn't really find a direct pattern for and just like save, like $8 to $10 on not buying another pattern. So, okay, let's see. So yeah, the stitch counts for everything I do have listed on my Ravelry page because my neckline I just kind of like started with like a small amount of stitches just to see that because I knew the neckline would eventually start to stretch, and once I added like the raglan details and everything, I knew the neckline would just get a bit wider. So I started out, let's see, I have my Ravelry page opened up here. Let me just go over like the needles and the yarn. So I used both a 4.5 millimeter needle for the neckline. I think only the neckline. And then for the rest of the sweater, I used 5.5 millimeter needles. And the yarn I used is Patton's classic wool worsted yarn in the color bright red, which I just got from like a local Michael's. And thankfully, no one really buys this specific yarn like at the Michael's that I go to. So even when I had to go back for another ball of yarn like weeks later, they still had like the same exact dye lot. I don't think anyone had like touched that yarn since I had been there last. So yeah, so I got dye lot 68. And it worked out, and I ended up breaking into a total of 5 skeins. So I used 4 full skeins, but then I only used about 30 to 40 grams of the 5th skein. So overall, I only I used less than 500 grams for this entire sweater. It is like a solid worsted leaning Aran weight yarn, I would say. And yeah, so I'll just kind of show you up close some of the details. I really wanted to, again, have like a raglan style sweater with a little bit more interest, which is why I really took from the Un pattern first and really just felt inspired by that. But I didn't want the extra detail of like having a really deep split hem. I just wanted kind of a normal, like, just regular like pullover sweater with a normal amount of ribbing on the bottom. So I just ended up with, once I had finished making increases in my neckline, the amount of stitches that I had ready kind of aligned with one of the larger Un sweater sizes. So I just kind of matched what I was looking for to that Un sweater size, did the raglan with the German short rows, and then from then on, it was pretty much just like, okay, I'm just going to continue these raglan increases until I feel like I'm at a good place to split for sleeves. And I did want like a good amount of positive ease on this sweater, and so I did 22 total repeats, which includes the German short rows. So, yeah. And then at that point, I didn't look at the pattern again. After that, I just kind of did what I do best and just kind of riffed, and I winged the rest of the pattern just by trying everything on every once in a while. And so for the sleeves, I did the sleeves first. And so I cast on 4 extra stitches under each sleeve, which I feel like is pretty standard in like a lot of different patterns. At least for like the sizes I'm usually making. And I knew the sleeve was already going to be kind of large anyway, just based on like how much space I had from all the raglan increases. And so I just cast on 4 stitches underneath each sleeve. The beginning of round marker was then placed in the middle of those 4 cast on stitches. And then I did 3 separate decreases, and all of this is on my Ravelry page again. It was kind of random, but it was around every like 15 to 16 rounds that I did a decrease round, by just decreasing by 2 stitches each round. So nothing too drastic, and I feel like you can't, like, it for the most part it looks like a straight sleeve, and that's what I wanted. I didn't want the sleeve to taper too much. And then for the ribbing with the cuff, I actually did the full sleeves first. And at this point, I still hadn't obtained my final ball of red yarn. And so at the point where I was ready to start with the ribbing, the cuffs, I stopped and I started working on the body with the yarn that I had from the 4 balls, because at that point, I also wasn't sure if I would be able to find the same dye lot. And so I was like, well, worst case scenario, I get a new ball and it's like a shade lighter or a shade darker. I can live with it if it's like just on the sleeve cuffs and like the body ribbing too. So that was kind of my thinking. It ended up being fine, but yeah, I basically reserved all of the existing yarn I had just for like the sleeves and the body, and then left the area for ribbing just kind of free for later for that extra ball of yarn. And it actually worked out pretty well overall. Yeah, for the sleeve ribbing, I should say I did 20 rounds of 2x2 rib. Oh, I did size down to 4.5 millimeter needle for ribbing, just for the sleeves, because I had a 12-inch circular, and I knew that my ribbing would be a little bit looser anyway, so just decided to do that. And I like the like slightly longer sleeve like cuff ribbing too, just based on like patterns I've seen in the past or like designs I've seen on the market. I like kind of this like looser, thicker ribbed cuff. I followed a tutorial by Andrea Mowry for how she readjusts her 2x2 rib to 1x1 rib for doing a tubular bind off with 2x2 ribbing. You're essentially just doing like a really quick one row of cable, so you can kind of see like the the rib leans to one side a little bit, where you kind of like twist the knit and purl, so you end up with a knit one, purl one, knit one, purl one. The tutorial is super easy to follow, so just refer to that if you have no idea what I'm talking about. But yeah, and then I did tubular bind off, just to finish off the ribbing, and I think it ended up being really clean and nice. So that was the sleeves, and for the body I also did, I guess my magic number was 3. I also did 3 total decreases for the body shaping, and for this I did 1 decrease round of 4, decreasing by 4 stitches every round, and I did that every 7 like rounds. So I had a decrease maybe starting like here, and then 7 rounds, so it was like boop, boop, boop. And then I just kind of knit until, just knit straight stockinette down in the body until I was ready for my, the like body ribbing to begin, and did about 13 rounds because I knew I didn't want this ribbing to be as thick as my sleeve cuff ribbing. And then I did the same, switching to 1 by 1 rib before doing the tubular bind off. And that's pretty much it. I have all my pre-blocked measurements too, and my post-block measurements on the Ravelry page. And for the most part, this yarn didn't really grow that much, which I was expecting. Like, it's just 100% non-superwash wool. It's like a perfect full-length sweater length for me. But I love it. I love this so much. I don't think I have that much more to say about it, but I do want to make more of these, and I do want to play more with like maybe some different raglan like detail. Like, obviously it's a very like, it's like a thick ribbed raglan detail. I kind of want to just do like a simple like 2-stitch raglan detail, which I've seen in some other patterns, so I might do that. And I definitely want to do more colors in this sweater. So I have my eye on some blue and some green yarn. I would love to do this also in like a tweedy yarn as well, like Rowan felted tweed vibes. So we'll see if I can obtain some nice wool soon, then I will probably do that. But yeah, this was just the best project. Having 12-inch circular needles also was very helpful and made the sleeves like fly by. Also working on like a larger gauge obviously helped. But yeah, I love this, and I just want to make more, and I think I will. I did try wearing this to, or I wore this out for the first time last night, which is why it's a little creased. But I wore this out to a concert, and it has been cooling down, so I thought I'd be fine because, you know, I figured during the concert I might get a little hot and sweaty just because you're around so many people, which I did. I got very hot and sweaty. But then, you know, on the walk back to the car and like just going back home, I figured this would be like the perfect like light layer of wool to like keep me warm in the like chilly evenings. It was not that chilly. And I think I was so hot from the concert still, like even like doing the longer walk back to our car, I had to take it off. It was too hot. So fingers crossed the weather gets colder sooner so I can get more wear out of this sweater. But yeah, I love it. I do think this is going to be like my holiday Christmas sweater. I'm wearing it with my Pomona pants that I made earlier this year, and I feel like this is such a vibe. Like, it's such a Christmassy vibe. So I can't wait for that. But yeah, that is the red Frankenstein sweater. I love her so much, and I never want to take it off, even if I'm like sweating my butt off, clearly from last night. So that's the first finished object, and I do have one more finished object to show y'all. This is from last week. These are the pink and brown grid socks. But yeah, there we go. There we go. What can I say about these? The yarn that I used is Lang Yo Wall for the pink color, Cascade Heritage Brown for the brown color, All the details are on my Ravelry page, 2x2 or 2x1 ribbed cuff. And I decreased my stitch count this time to 60 stitches instead of 66, which is what I did my blue and brown grid socks in. And these do definitely have like a more snug fit, and these fit perfectly actually. So I think moving forward, if I do these socks again, I will go with the 60 stitch. Yeah, the 60 stitch count instead of 66. Oh, I also wore the blue and brown grid socks last night to the concert as well. So that could also be why I was just like extra hot, because I had on a wool sweater and wool socks. I'm just like so ready for it to be cold. But alas, Northern California things. But yeah, these are socks. Oh, for the Langya Wall, the pink yarn, I did have enough of the reinforcement thread to include in the heel. So I included that while I did the shadow wrap heel. I'm glad I did. So hopefully it'll be a little more hard wearing. And that's it for the pink and brown grid socks. Let me actually put one on and I can show you what it looks like on my foot. All right, here we go. I have a US 6, size 6 foot. This is kind of harder to show you than I thought it would be. But yeah, I feel like the grid pattern doesn't get too distorted. It's still easy to put on, and yeah, I like it. And that's it for finished objects. Time for works in progress. Okay, I'm not going to talk too much about works in progress, only because some of them are like the same as last episode, and nothing has changed. So shout out to the Northland Sweater by Petite Knit, which I'm making for my husband and myself. I haven't touched that. Shout out to the Stella quilt cushion, which I have touched technically, but I've only blocked the front piece. But I will tell y'all a little bit more about this while I hold it up for you. So I blocked the front piece. I still have to weave in the ends and make sure the star looks, perfect and like put together and all the points are lining up and everything. And I am still planning on knitting a backing with just like the undyed white yarn that I have as like the background color. But instead of doing an envelope closure, I am instead going to make my own, like put my own twist on this and insert a zipper at the bottom. So I need to just make sure that the way I knit the back closure piece leaves me enough room at the bottom of the pillow, which will be like where the blue and the darker colors are. That will be the bottom of the pillow. I just need to make sure that side of the pillow remains open so that I can go back in and hand sew in a zipper. So that's my plan. I'll include a link to the tutorial that inspired me to do this in the description. And yeah, I'm just hoping it works out. And I think once I get this set up to knit it appropriately, it'll be really easy, like TV knitting. So with that being said, I really hope this is done really soon, or at least the like shell of it is done, and all I need to do is get a zipper and sew it in. So that's the Stella quilt cushion. Next work in progress, I haven't technically started, but I have wound it up. This is my Handspun yarn that I'm going to use to knit some Handspun socks. I put the hank on my Swift, but it was kind of tangled because I don't think I created the hank super perfectly. So I actually had to hand wind it around this toilet paper roll, but it ended up working out well. And yeah, I'm excited to cast these on. I think I'm gonna just make them top down because I feel like I can just kind of wing it and make some like cuff to toe socks. I don't really feel like learning a new sock construction right now, which, I mean, maybe I will. Probably use DPNs for this, and because it's DPNs, I'm just gonna do something that I'm used to. So hopefully I can start and finish these before the end of next episode. Before I film the next episode, because DK weight socks will go by really fast. So that's one work in progress. Another not super exciting work in progress, but one that is coming along slowly, are my Maize Socks. I just have both cuffs going now. I only had one going last week, so I only had this one last week, but now I have this one. I have yet to do the heel. These are also going to be like ankle-ish socks, so I think I need to start on the heel on this one. But this sock holds good memories because I was able to hop on a call, just like a hangout video knitting call with my friend Erica, who I'm hosting the Wooliest Dreams Knit-along with. It was just such a great time. Like, I think because you get to, at least for like podcast friends, making friends with other people who have podcasts makes it feel like you actually do kind of know each other. So even though it was our first time like talking, like actually talking face to face virtually, it didn't feel like it. Like, I feel like we kind of already had met each other. So that was cool. Like, bringing the parasocial into like actual social like friendship. So yay, hi Erica. I loved hanging out with you, and I know we're gonna do it again, so can't wait. Encouragement to go make friends and see if someone's willing to hang out with you virtually, because you never know, they might, maybe they don't, but I feel like for the most part you'll be fine. All right, my final work in progress is an exciting one. This is one I did hint at last episode because it is using this dream yarn that I acquired last time, which is Noro Madara in the color Sake number 1. And my plan for this was to make a cardigan number 8, I think, by My Favorite Things Knitwear. And I was like pretty set on doing that. And I have loved like seeing what other people's versions of that looked like, especially when it's held with like a fuzzy mohair. But I've realized this about myself, which is I'm not the biggest fan of like drop shoulder sweaters at the moment for myself. On other people, I think it looks great. But I think with like the bulkier gauge that I know this sweater is going to be at for myself, I don't think I'm going to like having a drop shoulder. And I don't even really like doing drop shoulder all that much. I much prefer raglan. So I've decided to pivot and make the Puro cardigan by Rui Yamamuro, I think. Yeah, Rui Yamamuro. The Puro cardigan, I'm making size 1, and I'm not holding this by itself. I'm holding the Noro Madara with yarn that I already had in stash, which is Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk. This is the color 1. I think the color name is technically off-white because it's not like a pure white. It definitely is like an off-white. Like my shirt is pure white, if you can tell, and this is a little more creamy. But yeah, holding these together. The Puro cardigan is made in super like big gauge, and I know it'll go by really fast. So I'm like actually trying to savor making this because it's been really enjoyable. But it is a raglan, top-down raglan cardigan. It is, the yarn weight that it asks for is an Aran weight yarn. The gauge itself for 4 inches is 15 stitches and 22 rows. And you need to do that on the main needle size, which is a 6.5 millimeter needle, or like that's the suggested gauge. You'll also need a 5.5 millimeter and a 5 millimeter needle because I think there is a double knit button band. And then ribbing for the cuffs and the body. There are only 4 sizes, but I feel like this cardigan is meant to have like oodles of positive ease. So I feel like having 4 sizes is like not the worst thing, but yeah, just heads up if you're interested there, to make sure before you like decide to make it or buy the pattern, just make sure you're looking at the sizes closely enough. Yeah, and so let me show you what I've got so far. I'm super excited about this. I I wasn't sure at the start because I had gauge swatched for this. I wasn't sure if I loved the like lighter color of this brushed alpaca silk with the Madara, because I wasn't sure if it was like washing it out too much, but now that I've like looked at it and like started working on it more, I think it's fine. And my plan is to just wear this as a cardigan, probably only really with like a white undershirt or like a white t-shirt, or maybe over like a black shirt every once in a while. So there's enough contrast there that I liked, that I was fine with it. I've only worked on this like 1.5 nights and it's flying by, and I like really want to savor it because the yarns are actually very pleasant to work with, and at least for now, and you know, it's on such a large gauge that I've just enjoyed really working on it. So I actually really love the pearl side, or the wrong side of the stockinette too, because I feel like it pulls out all of the little like tweedy bits really nicely. And Laura Penrose is she's coming out with a garter stitch cardigan, or she's testing a garter stitch cardigan right now. But I feel like this yarn would actually be really pretty for that cardigan as well, because you'd get to see all the little pops of color. I'm not the biggest fan of garter stitch, like a entirely garter stitch garment, but I feel like this could be really fun. But yeah, that's my Puro cardigan. I don't think this will be done by the next time I talk to you, but I think I'll have a lot done by the next time I talk to you. But who knows? Who knows? But yeah, I've really enjoyed working on this. I love the like simple raglan. I just love a raglan. I don't know. I'm just a raglan girly. It's just comfortable. It's fun. It's engaging enough. But yeah, I don't know. I love a raglan. Sue me. But that is it for works in progress. I do have some media and like random favorites for you. So there is one knitting podcast or like channel that I found recently that I have been enjoying watching, and that is, I think it's just her name, but it's a knitter based out of Oslo, Norway, and her name is Stine Friis, I think is how you say her name. Yeah, I just like the things she makes, and she's like pretty easy to watch and like to listen to. So Stine Friis, if you haven't checked her out, check her out. And then one non-knitting like YouTube channel that I found recently that I feel like may pop off soon, or I don't know. I feel like she's kind of like Australian Paige Wassel vibes in terms of like her home decor style. So yeah, she's primarily like a home decor interiors channel. And her name is Shaunna Rochelle. So I will leave her info in the description. But yeah, she's an Australian-based artist, but does like a lot of really cool like room room makeovers, thrifts a lot, and likes to do DIY projects and like reuse things that are just around her house or that she finds thrifted and does thrift flips on. So yeah, I found that her videos and ideas in her channel is very inspiring. So if that sounds fun to you, definitely check that out. And I do have like a truly random favorite, housewares or like kitchenware. It is this bowl, set of 2 bowls that I got from IKEA recently. I forget what they're called, but I'll put it on the screen. But they're blue. They're just like kind of like blue speckled splatterware, which has been kind of, I guess, kind of trendy recently. But I feel like there's also like a classic look to them because they've been around for ages, like the enamelware splatterware vibe. But yeah, I found a pair of them when I went around IKEA a couple weeks ago, and I've been using them for everything because they're like the perfect size. They're like a little bowl plate. So you could use it for soup, you could use it for rice, you could use it for pasta, cereal I've eaten out of it. Also, a couple of mugs I have my eye on from H&M Home that have that same like splatterware vibe and aesthetic. So I might get those. Try not to buy too much. I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I'll think about it more, but they're really cute, and I feel like they would kind of match the vibe. And I do love a mug. But anyway, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for hearing me out and hearing all my ramblings. I really appreciate all of you who watch these videos. Check out the Wooliest Dreams Knit-along if you haven't. It's just casting on your dream knit and making sure you use the hashtag in an Instagram post after following me and Erica. But yeah, thanks again for watching. Please let me know what you're making or what you're like obsessed with lately in the comments. Yeah, I like hearing about all your lives and things you like and that you're making or that you're thinking of making. So yeah, that's it. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Bye!